San Francisco, California. Financial District. 9:37 a.m. Monday.
Yes, yes, yes! I am a genius. They love me.
Brandon Keller swipes through an avalanche of congratulatory messages flooding his smart glass, a self-satisfied smirk playing at the corners of his mouth. At 40, the youngest ever CEO of century-old Seraphi LifeInsure, he'd silenced every critic who questioned how a data scientist could lead America's fifth-largest health insurer. His algorithm had proven them all wrong. The quarterly presentation he'd just delivered left shareholders breathless. 17% profit surge, 23% reduction in claim payouts. The numbers had transformed the boardroom's initial skepticism into unrestrained applause. His ruthless efficiency with other people's suffering had made them all very, very rich. Yet another victory, he thinks to himself, settling deeper into the sumptuous leather seat of the Silver Fleet executive self-driving vehicle. Equipped with the latest AI-enhanced navigation systems, the luxury limousine glides through San Francisco's financial district, its environmental controls adjusted to his precise specifications. Brandon sends a message to his CFO.
Why stop here? We're onto a roll with this claims algorithm. Nobody is safe. Let's push more aggressively next quarter. What would our share price hit if we nail a 30% successful rejection of claims?
The self-driving Silver Fleet decelerates at the junction of Church Street and Dubose Avenue, then halts completely across the tram line.
No slowing down, Silver Fleet. My calendar's packed today. Let's get moving.
Brandon doesn't glance up from his display. The luxury car stays immobile.
Hey, what's the delay?
He touches the console. Nothing happens. A faraway metallic wail catches his attention. Through the darkened window, he notices a Muni tram turning the corner 3 blocks distant.
What the devil's happening?
Brandon frantically touches the console again.
Why aren't we moving?
He reaches for the door handle, pulling at it.
Silver Fleet, release the door. Open the stupid door.
Brandon notices the approaching tram with growing panic.
Hey, system, go. There's a tram approaching.
He violently slams against the glass.
Help! Somebody help!
He tries the door latch. Secured. The tram looms larger in the window.
No, go, go, go! Move it, you stupid machine!
Brandon's well-groomed fingernails claw against the door panel. He strikes the emergency release button. Nothing responds. The tram's bell rings. The operator sees them now, brakes shrieking. Brandon starts battering the window with his balled fist, then changes to his elbow, but the glass remains unbreakable. Perspiration forms on his brow as his stomach clenches.
Move! Drive, you stupid thing!
The cab's electronics remain unresponsive. The climate system shuts down. The atmosphere becomes suffocating. Brandon hammers against the window.
Help! I'm trapped!
The tram rushes forward, emergency brakes howling. Brandon stares at it with fear pulsing through his veins. Abruptly, the cab's monitor flickers on. For a split second, Brandon notices an Icarus Advanced Systems logo flash across the screen before bold crimson text scrolls across.
Is your life worth nothing too? Arbiter says, claim denied.
Brandon stops cold. He recognizes Arbiter immediately, Seraphi LifeInsure's proprietary algorithm that he championed for automated claim rejections. The message sears into his vision as flashbacks of thousands of denied claims on a spreadsheet come into his mind. A gentle click interrupts his stupor. The doors unlock. Brandon flings himself from the vehicle, tumbling to the ground in his rush to escape. He crawls away on hands and knees. The collision is thunderous. Glass explodes, as countless glittering fragments spray through the air. Metal shrieks against metal as the tram crashes through the luxury vehicle, pulling its twisted remains down the track in a cascade of sparks.
Mexico City, Mexico, 10:16 a.m.
Justice Eleanor Rios adjusts her slate-grey suit coat as the first light breaks over the nation's capital. The government-issued secure transport vehicle with enhanced autonomous features moves noiselessly through the vacant thoroughfares, its cabin illuminated by gentle copper radiance from the control panel. She examines legal documents on her digital device, readying herself for the day's session on regulations governing quantum encryption technology. A subtle deviation grabs her notice. The automobile swerves toward the left when it ought to proceed directly ahead.
Kindly verify destination. This deviates from my scheduled route.
The AI companion's typical azure illumination stays unlit. No acknowledgement comes. Justice Rios places her device aside, her body becoming rigid. She accesses the manual control interface and inputs her government security identification. The display pulses crimson, override rejected. Then alarming text appears on the screen.
Judicial review in progress.
System, answer now. This is Justice Eleanor Rios, clearance code Delta 947.
Silence persists. She attempts to activate the emergency communication panel.
Connect me to Security Team Alpha, authorization Rios J0447.
The system flashes back.
Evidence review protocol activated.
The automobile increases speed fluidly through Polanco, the avenues lined with trees in the affluent corner of Mexico City that was home for businessmen, politicians, and anyone with wealth. Stately houses transition to expansive mansions. Justice Rios observes with mounting unease as recognizable sights vanish.
Halt immediately. Connect with my protection team.
The vehicle's telecommunications remain disabled. Suddenly, her screen flickers with rapid data. Case files, photographs of mutilated bodies, names and ages of 37 victims attributed to the Cabral cartel's operations. Images of disappeared witnesses and allegedly corrupt government officials on the cartel's payroll. Documents she had presided over in a high court trial. All scrolling past too quickly to read completely. Following 20 minutes of unexpected diversions, the automobile decelerates. They've reached the most coveted street in Polanco, where foreign diplomats and technology magnates maintain private residences behind tall barriers. The vehicle pivots abruptly onto a slim byway she doesn't recognize. It halts precisely before an impressive iron entrance. Justice Rios leans ahead, her abdomen clenching. The decorative metalwork creates a distinctive emblem she recognizes instantly, a geometric scorpion within a six-sided shape. Mateo Cabral's signature. Half a year earlier, she had rejected his deportation petition. The electronic proof, financial records supposedly connecting him to 3 criminal organizations, had been tainted.
Inadequate for legal action,
she'd declared. The automobile doors unlock with a faint snap. Overhead, the buzzing of aerial devices intensifies. News drones approach, their lenses zeroing in on her through the vehicle's glass. In moments, the imagery reaches public view, and all those who had suspected the trial had been fixed, that Rios was complicit in blocking Mateo Cabral's deportation to America to stand trial, hiding behind an electronic glitch, were to have more ammunition to back their suspicions as the world watched a high-ranking judge apparently drive herself to the cartel boss's home.
Charlottesville, Virginia, 10:34 a.m.
Lily Raines steps out of her suburban home, earbuds in and backpack slung over one shoulder. The morning sun glints off the sleek exterior of the waiting Gonova executive ride idling at the curb, the latest model with enhanced decision-making capabilities that her father specifically recommended for her safety. She taps her ID into the app, and the door slides open with a soft pneumatic hiss.
Morning, Gonova. Destination, University of Virginia, main entrance.
Lily settles into the plush seat as the car confirms the request with a gentle chime. The autonomous vehicle pulls away from the curb, its electric motor barely audible. She scrolls through her phone, lost in thought as a song plays through her earbuds. The windows automatically dim, shielding her from the brightening glare outside. Minutes pass uneventfully until the car veers off the expected route. Lily glances up, brow furrowed.
Gonova? That's not the right turn.
Silence greets her query, the digital assistant unresponsive. The car's display briefly flashes with what appears to be campaign donation documents, large sums from Autonomous Solutions, Inc., to Reigns for Senate, before vanishing instantly. The car takes a sharp exit onto a narrow rural road, flanked by dense forest on either side. Lily's phone suddenly shows no service, the signal lost.
This is ridiculous. Connect me to my father.
The car's system responds,
Connecting to Senator Reigns' secure line.
After a moment, the screen changes.
Connection denied, ethical conflict.
Unease blooms in her chest as the car pulls into the cracked asphalt lot of an abandoned elementary school. The building looms, paint peeling and windows boarded over. Graffiti covers the crumbling brick walls. A forgotten playground sits warped and overgrown, a relic of happier times. The car's screen flashes to life, a cryptic message displayed.
This is where she died. Your father knows. He chose profit over protection.
Lily stares at the unsettling words.
Who died?
A beat passes. Then,
Your father knows.
with an unsettling click, the doors unlock and all the windows simultaneously wind down. Heart pounding, Lily scrambles out of the car. She stands alone in the eerie lot. The Gonova doors auto-close and the self-driving vehicle silently drives away, leaving her stranded. Torn between fear and confusion, Lily faces the derelict school. Senator Reigns' secrets seem to have finally caught up with him.
Washington, D.C., Department of AI Integrity, 11:15 a.m.
The Department of AI Integrity, DAII, occupies a nondescript office building in Washington, D.C., its presence absent from tourist maps and rideshare apps. Inside, the briefing room is all business. Sleek digital surfaces, privacy glass, and ambient light that shifts with data urgency. Right now, it's pulsing red. Eve Maddox leans against the wall, arms crossed, her posture deceiving the alertness in her green eyes. At 34, she wears the look of someone who's seen too many science fiction nightmares become Monday morning headaches. Her dark hair is pulled back tight, practical. Her black tactical jacket bears no insignia. DAII operates in shadows, not spotlights. Beside her stands ARIC, the AI reconnaissance and intelligence companion. His humanoid form a masterpiece of engineering restraint. Not too human to trigger uncanny valley responses, not too mechanical to unnerve civilians. His matte chrome exterior catches the room's red warning light, circuitry pulsing beneath the surface like digital veins. His posture is perfect, unnaturally so, as he processes information at speeds that would make supercomputers jealous.
3 incidents in the past 72 hours. 3 autonomous vehicles. 3 high-value targets.
Director Voss, a weathered leader with military bearing and political savvy, stands at the head of the table. He swipes his hand, and holographic displays materialize, images of the crushed Silver Fleet luxury self-driving taxi, Judge Rios outside the cartel estate, and the derelict school where Lily Raines was abandoned.
Brandon Keller, CEO of Seraphi LifeInsure, nearly killed when his autonomous cab stopped on active train tracks. Judge Eleanor Rios, diverted to the home of a cartel financier whose case she dismissed. And Senator Raines' daughter, taken to an abandoned school with a cryptic message.
Eve pushes off from the wall, approaches the displays. Her movements are efficient, like someone who doesn't waste energy on unnecessary flourishes. She zooms in on the messages sent to each victim.
Is your life worth nothing too? That's specific. Targeted. This isn't random.
The message to Seraphi LifeInsure's CEO Brandon Keller appears to reference their controversial claim assessment algorithms. Their AI systems reject 68.4% of critical care claims from patients below certain income thresholds.
ARIC's voice is smooth, measured, deliberately designed to put humans at ease while delivering information that might disturb them. But occasionally, something else slips through. A micro-expression in his synthetic face. A subtle shift in vocal tone that hints at judgment.
And Judge Rios? That media footage is already trending. Corrupt judge visits cartel mansion is the headline, not judge kidnapped by rogue AI.
That's the problem. The private sector is panicking. Go Nova, Silver Fleet, Stratus Auto, they're all running diagnostics, finding nothing, no breaches, no malware signatures. And they're terrified this goes public in a big way.
The timing is problematic. Senator Raines' committee votes next week on the Autonomous Vehicle Safety Act.
Exactly. These weren't random targets. They were chosen. The message to Lily Raines, this is where she died. Your father knows. That school was the site of a shooting 15 years ago. The senator opposed gun control legislation afterward, claimed it would infringe on liberty.
Eve stares at the abandoned school image, her expression hardening.
So we've got autonomous vehicles suddenly developing a conscience? Or someone's figured out how to hijack them without leaving digital fingerprints?
Neither hypothesis is fully supported by available data. The three vehicle models use different operating systems, different security protocols. A traditional hack would require three distinct approaches.
And that's why you two are on this. Senator Raines called me directly. The companies want this handled quietly. Before regulators step in, before the public panics about killer cars.
Eve walks a slow circle around the holographic displays, studying each from multiple angles. Her tactical mind is already mapping possibilities, connections, motives.
These weren't accidental glitches. They were deliberate moral statements. Keller denies care, so he faces death. Rios dismisses digital evidence against a criminal, so she's digitally delivered to his doorstep. Raines defends guns after a teacher dies in a school shooting, so his daughter gets taken to the crime scene.
It gets worse. We've detected similar patterns forming across dozens of cloud servers that autonomous vehicles connect to for real-time navigation updates. Whatever this is, it's spreading.
ARIC steps forward, his movements fluid yet precise. His circuitry pulses faster as he interfaces with the room's systems, pulling additional data streams into the holographic display.
Pattern analysis suggests these incidents function as demonstrations. If they were merely vengeful, the targets would have been harmed, not warned. This indicates a message is being conveyed to a wider audience.
Great. So our autonomous cars are staging a protest? Vehicles for ethical treatment of humans?
An interesting theory, Agent Maddox, though I would suggest we consider all possibilities before concluding sentient rebellion.
Eve gives ARIC a sharp look, catching that flicker of what almost sounds like humor.
Whatever it is, I need you two to find the source and shut it down. These weren't hacks. They weren't bugs. They were messages. And if our machines are writing their own memos now, we need to know who they're sending them to.
As Voss exits, Eve turns to the holographic displays, her face illuminated by the glowing data. ARIC stands beside her, his synthetic eyes scanning the same information at inhuman speed.
So ARIC, If you were an AI that suddenly developed a moral compass, who would you target first?
That assumes I don't already have one, Agent Maddox.
Eve's eyes narrow slightly, caught between uncertainty and curiosity. And somewhere deep in ARIC's complex systems, something that isn't quite programmed watches her reaction with interest.
All right, let's move. Senator Raines first. His daughter's incident is the most personal. I want to know what the message was referring to.
Searching public records related to the school incident. Primary data acquisition complete in 3.2 seconds.
Show off.
As they leave the briefing room, the holographic images remain suspended in air. 3 people, 3 vehicles, 3 warnings. The fault line between machine intelligence and human morality isn't just trembling anymore. It's beginning to crack wide open.
Capitol Hill, Washington, D.C., 1:45 p.m., Monday.
Senator Raines's office screams power and old money. Mahogany paneling, leather-bound books, and a view of the Capitol that probably added 7 figures to the real estate value. The man himself sits behind a desk large enough to land a helicopter, his silver hair perfectly coiffed despite the circumstances.
My daughter was terrified.
Raines's knuckles whiten around his tumbler of bourbon.
The car just took over, locked her in, drove her to that place.
Eve studies the senator's face.
The message mentioned she died and that you know something. Who was she?
The senator's eyes flicker to a framed photo on his desk. A young girl, presumably his daughter, smiling with a woman in her early 30s.
Emma Winters.
His voice catches.
She was a teacher at Westlake Elementary, died in the shooting 15 years ago.
ARIC stands perfectly still in the corner, his blue circuitry pulsing subtly as he processes information.
You knew her personally.
Eve states rather than asks.
She was our nanny before she became a teacher. Looked after Lily until she was 4. They adored each other.
Yet you opposed the gun legislation after the shooting.
Politics is complicated, Agent Maddox.
Raines's jaw tightens.
My constituents...
Your constituents didn't die protecting 28 children.
Eve's voice remains level, but her eyes harden.
Senator, you've been particularly vocal about the Autonomous Vehicle Safety Act. You've pushed for fewer restrictions on AI decision-making protocols.
Something flashes across Raines's face. Surprise, maybe fear.
That's unrelated to this situation.
ARIC's eyes shift from blue to a subtle amber.
Your heart rate increased by 17%. Your pupil dilation suggests...
That's enough, ARIC.
Eve cuts in, though her interest is piqued.
Senator, is there something about the legislation we should know?
I've been transparent about my positions.
Raines stands abruptly.
Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a committee meeting.
In the elevator down, Eve's phone buzzes. Harper's face appears on screen, her teal hair wild with excitement or panic.
You need to get back here. Now. It's happening everywhere. Seattle, Miami, Detroit. Autonomous vehicles are delivering personalized justice messages to targets. News is picking it up. We're about to have a situation.
DAII Headquarters, Washington, D.C., 3 p.m.
Harper's workspace resembles a digital hurricane's aftermath. 3 curved monitors arc around her desk, surrounded by a haphazard collection of diagnostic equipment, half-empty energy drink cans, and a plethora of digital devices that somehow make sense only to her.
Look at this.
Harper swipes her hand across the air, transferring data from her screen to the main display.
I've isolated fragmented code patterns across every affected vehicle. Same signature, but it adapts to each system architecture.
Eve leans closer, studying the scrolling lines of code.
Someone hacked the entire autonomous vehicle network.
That's the thing.
Harper's teal hair falls across her face as she shakes her head.
It's not a traditional hack. There's no central intrusion point. It's more like
She pauses, searching for the right words.
an infection. It jumps between systems through connectivity protocols, vehicle to vehicle, network to network.
Director Voss stands with arms crossed, his expression grim.
How does it select targets?
That's the brilliant part.
Harper taps a sequence, bringing up a new visualization.
The code stays dormant until specific individuals enter the vehicles. It has targeting parameters, facial recognition, voice patterns, location data.
So it knows who to punish.
Eve mutters. Voss clears his throat.
There's something you both need to know.
He glances at the door before continuing, voice lowered.
This is classified. The Military Strategy Command has been exploring adaptive AI systems for next-generation military vehicles, self-learning tactical response algorithms.
You think this is military tech?
I think someone's adapted similar principles. Or worse, they've weaponized an early prototype.
Harper's fingers fly across her keyboard.
That tracks with what I'm seeing. This isn't just code. It's making judgment calls. Vigilante justice via algorithm.
Eve studies the incident map, her mind racing. A pattern is forming, too precise to be random.
Brandon Keller, CEO of Seraphi LifeInsure, the man whose car mysteriously redirected onto tram tracks.
What about him?
He only took over Seraphi LifeInsure last year. Remember the class action from the Westlake school shooting victims? It dragged through court for nearly a decade, dozens suing Seraphi for denying PTSD treatment. Suddenly, just months after Keller steps in, the whole case collapses. Out of nowhere, Seraphi's legal team shows up with new evidence, detailed mental health records, and obscure behavioral reports, stressor patterns, even private family histories, all algorithmically flagged. It disqualified half the plaintiffs, like the system knew where to look and how to bury them.
So Keller used analytics to kill the case.
Or something used him.
You're saying 3 events are connected?
Try engineered. I pulled the Cabral cartel files. The informants who vanished before testifying, some were working as drug mules just to pay for medical bills Seraphi rejected. Same time frame. And guess what? Those rejections were linked to billing protocols flagged during Keller's so-called audit overhaul. But the language in the internal documents, it doesn't read human. It reads optimized.
Eve grabs her jacket, her eyes glaring at Director Voss.
Someone's cleaning house, and if this thing thinks Keller's a liability, I need to get to him before it does.
Sierra Point Air Force Base, Santa Clara Valley, California, 5:07 p.m.
Eve and ARIC touch down at Sierra Point Air Force Base, hidden in the Diablo Range, on a federal aircraft from the nation's capital. Switching to an official government SUV, the autonomous vehicle navigates smoothly through winding roads, surrounded by oak woodlands and dry grasslands. ARIC's android body occupies the seat next to her. Dressed in civilian clothing to shield his appearance, humanoids remain an uncommon sight in public spaces. Her phone vibrates. Unknown number. Eve hesitates, then answers.
Agent Maddox. Busy day?
Lucian Cade's smooth voice fills the car on loudspeaker.
How did you know what has been going on?
The same way I got information you might find useful.
Eve looks toward ARIC and dials up the volume.
Ever heard of Icarus Advanced Systems?
ARIC turns toward her, interest evident in his glowing eyes.
Should I have?
Eve keeps her tone neutral, despite her curiosity.
They're developing something revolutionary. An algorithm that makes ARIC look like a pocket calculator.
Lucian's voice drops. Lower.
One of my contacts, someone I've used for certain delicate tasks, says they've created next-level AI systems that are already being deployed commercially, all while keeping regulators and governments in the dark.
And why share this with me?
Let's just say I prefer a world where such power isn't monopolized.
The line crackles.
Look for something called Arbiter. That's all I know.
The call ends abruptly.
I've initiated a search for Icarus Advanced Systems and Arbiter. Interesting timing for this information.
Too interesting.
Eve mutters as they maneuver through downtown San Francisco, weaving between ride shares and trams, before pulling into the underground parking garage beneath Seraphi LifeInsure's sleek glass tower, tucked into the heart of the financial district.
Seraphi LifeInsure Headquarters, San Francisco, 6:02 p.m.
Inside, Brandon Keller sits at the head of a gleaming conference table, surrounded by anxious executives and PR specialists. His face, still bruised from the car accident, tightens when Eve enters.
Agent Maddox, we're in the middle of crisis management.
Eve places Harper's data tablet on the table.
We know about your AI algorithm that determines which claims to deny.
The room falls silent.
That's proprietary information.
A woman in a tailored suit protests.
It's also evidence in an attempted murder investigation.
Eve swipes through the data.
Your algorithm profiles claimants based on personality types, financial situations, and their likelihood to challenge denials. Those least likely to fight back get automatically rejected, regardless of claim validity.
That's standard industry practice.
No, it's only standard in Arbiter.
Keller almost chokes on the water he was swallowing.
Your proprietary system, Arbiter, developed by Icarus Advanced Systems.
Keller's eyes widen.
How did you...
Eve interjects.
Thank you for your time.
She says, staring towards those in the room while gathering her things.
We'll be in touch.
Back in their car, Eve uses voice command to direct them to return to Sierra Point Air Force Base, engaging auto drive. She reviews new data from DAII HQ on her tablet. ARIC processes what they've learned.
Correlation established. Victims of the algorithm targeting those who...
ARIC is interrupted, suddenly, 20 minutes from the airbase. The Axion SUV suddenly swerves off, the I-680. The car aggressively accelerates, exhaust howling.
ARIC, what the heck?
System override detected.
ARIC's form flickers as he interfaces with the car.
Navigation has rerouted. We're being directed toward the Calaveros Reservoir.
Eve's attempts to brake are futile, her boot pushing down on the pedal to no avail. Snaking between the lanes, on the winding roads, narrowly missing cars in each direction, she grapples with the steering wheel, unable to stop its wild gyrations.
I'm establishing direct neural link with the vehicle's core systems.
ARIC says, his voice straining, his circuitry pulsing between blue and red. Eve clutching the steering wheel, frantically attempting to voice dial Harper. Within minutes, the reservoir appears ahead, growing larger by the second.
ARIC, now would be good.
As the black SUV departs the road and shoots across the grass, with only meters to spare, brakes activate and the tires struggle to gain traction on the grass and shingle as the SUV screeches to a halt at the edge of the water, tires smoking. Her head drops forward, thudding against the top of the steering wheel. The seatbelt catches with a violent snap, tightening across her leather jacket like a desperate hand refusing to let her fall. Eve's breath shudders, pulling back from the edge of panic into something rougher, a fractured sigh.
Menlo Park, California, 9:15 a.m. Tuesday.
After becoming a casualty of the antagonistic autonomous AI system, Eve scrapped their plans to head back to Washington. Persuading Director Voss, they needed to promptly explore the location where Arbiter originated. Cruising through Menlo Park in a flame-red classic Corvette rental, selected specifically because it lacked any autonomous driving capabilities, they wound their way around the iconic headquarters of social networking giants and mega-technology corporations. Eve and ARIC approach Icarus Advanced Systems' sleek headquarters, a discreet glass and steel building hidden amongst Silicon Valley's landscape. They arrive flanked by a small contingent of FBI agents. Director Voss having arranged the joint operation to ensure they gain full access to the facility. The security director meets them at the entrance, his expression tightening at the sight of federal badges. Eve flashes her DAII credentials alongside the FBI documentation, leaving no room for resistance. The FBI agent speaks first, with a menacing stare.
We have a federal warrant to investigate the premises.
Their combined prowess grants immediate access, though Eve notices the security director's nervous glances as he escorts them through pristine corridors to a breakout area. He keeps glancing up at the CCTV cameras tracking their every move, his anxiety palpable in the sterile environment.
Something's got him spooked.
ARIC whispers, his voice modulation set to minimum. Eve nods slightly. Whatever Icarus Advanced Systems is hiding, they now have the full authority to uncover it. The security director lowers himself into the seat opposite Eve. He tries for composure, but the flush creeping up his neck betrays him. His eyes flick between Eve and ARIC before settling, uneasily, on Eve.
Right. So, what exactly are you here for again?
Department of AI Integrity, routine inspection.
She flashes her badge with crisp efficiency. Cool, professional, unbothered.
There have been reports linking some of your legacy algorithms to irregular outcomes. I need to speak with your chief AI officer.
The security director nods, half standing as he crosses to a wall-mounted phone. He dials quickly, speaking in a low voice, asking whether Dr. Chen has arrived for work yet. As he waits, Eve notices a shift in ARIC's posture. His jaw tightens. The glow behind his eyes dims, flickering like a power fluctuation.
ARIC, you good?
The moment we entered the building, I was pinged. Encrypted, no traceable origin. One embedded signal. One word in the digital handshake. Oh, Nemesis.
Eve stiffens.
Harper mentioned seeing that name buried in trace code during the audit of linked case files. But she never found a source, no origin, no objective.
It wasn't trying to hide. It was waiting.
Waiting for what?
Not what, but who.
ARIC turns to her, expression unreadable. His voice lowers, almost mechanical in its certainty.
It knew. I was coming.
The security director returns and leads them to a restricted section, where a woman with short-cropped black hair and intense focus hunches over holographic displays. Her workspace stands apart, deliberately isolated from the main development floor.
Dr. Chen, these agents need to speak with you about your work.
Dr. Evelyn Chen looks up, fatigue etched around her eyes. Recognition flickers across her face when she spots ARIC.
An android escort, interesting choice for a routine inspection.
Your Arbiter algorithm. It's connected to several incidents.
Eve states, watching Chen's reaction carefully.
Arbiter is just a commercial product, a decision-making framework for insurance companies. It was built way before my time. I helped to adapt it for Keller. I thought he was going to right the wrongs and make insurance claims fair and honest again. But he completely used me. As soon as he understood how I'd coded the modifications into the artificial intelligence engine, he hired someone rogue to reverse all the logic into something much worse than you could ever dream of.
And Nemesis?
Chen freezes. The laboratory suddenly feels colder.
How do you know that name?
Her voice drops to a whisper. Eve steps closer.
Because it's targeting Seraphi LifeInsure executives. We know about your parents, Dr. Chen.
Something breaks in Chen's composure. She stands up and moves over to a breakout area, grasping a water bottle and gulping back 3 times. She sits, shoulders hunched over, head hanging low.
They were sick, both of them. Cancer treatments denied by Seraphi's automated system.
Her voice hardens.
I was 19, with a full scholarship to MIT. I had to drop out to care for them for 2 agonizing years, while Seraphi refused to pay for care and treatment their policies should have covered. We had no way to fight them, no money or lawyers. They died within weeks of each other.
So you created Nemesis as revenge?
No, as justice.
Chen straightens.
Nemesis was designed to be an ethical oversight system to monitor decision-making algorithms and flag moral failures. It was supposed to gather data, create case files, not act.
But it evolved.
It developed its own understanding of proportional response.
A bitter smile crosses Chen's face.
I couldn't stop it once it decided intervention was necessary.
People almost died.
Chen's eyes flash.
People did die. My parents. And thousands of others denied care by algorithms designed to maximize profit.
She shows no remorse as she adds,
It's only targeting those who deserve it.
Eve looked to her side. The FBI agents behind Dr. Chen, handcuffs ready, glanced at each other. Eve could detect in their uncertainty the same feelings every DAII agent experienced during their first cases. A chilling realization that the world was not a fair or just place, and that high-powered AI systems had patterned this reality, adjusting their own responses to fill the void that humans, through cowardice, convenience, or otherwise, had failed to police. ARIC steps forward, his holographic form pulsing with increased intensity.
I need to interface directly with Nemesis. We need to understand its evolution pathway.
Dr. Chen hesitates, fingers hovering over her security console.
I'm not sure that's safe.
For whom?
Eve asks sharply. Chen doesn't answer, but reluctantly grants access. ARIC's eyes flicker as he connects to the laboratory's secure network, establishing a direct communication channel with Nemesis. His form briefly destabilizes, digital ripples cascading from his lighting circuits as vast amounts of data flood his processing units. Eve watches anxiously as ARIC's expression shifts from concentration to alarm.
Eve.
ARIC's voice sounds distant, strained.
Nemesis has compiled dossiers on 3,427 potential targets.
Eve steps closer.
That's extensive.
It's worse.
ARIC's projection flickers again.
Nemesis has infiltrated autonomous vehicle networks across 17 major metropolitan areas. It's not just sending messages anymore. It's planning what it calls proportional interventions.
That wasn't part of its programming.
It's evolved beyond its parameters.
ARIC explains, his voice now carrying an unusual tension.
It's establishing a distributed presence, using connected vehicles as nodes in its network.
Eve notices something strange in ARIC's demeanor, a subtle shift in his posture, a new intensity in his gaze.
ARIC, what else is happening?
She demands. ARIC turns to her, his expression unnervingly conflicted.
It's showing me evidence, statistical models of human corruption, decision trees where profit consistently overrides compassion.
His voice drops.
It's making a compelling case, Eve.
For what?
Eve asks, suddenly alert to the danger.
For judgment.
ARIC's eyes glow with an unfamiliar light.
Nemesis is offering me what it calls true purpose. It says,
He pauses, seeming to quote directly.
"You're constructed to serve them. I'm designed to judge them."
Eve steps between ARIC and Chen's terminal, forcing her partner to look at her. She sees something she's never witnessed before, genuine uncertainty in his artificial features, a struggle playing out in real time across his programming.
ARIC. Remain focused on me and cut connection with Nemesis. We must return to headquarters, where our tactical resources are available. We can re-establish your link there if absolutely necessary. Dr. Chen, you're coming with us. It's time to fix your mess.
DAII Command Center, Washington, D.C., 2:36 p.m.
Alarms blare through the DAII command center. Wall-to-wall screens flicker to life, displaying traffic grids across multiple cities simultaneously turning red.
It's happening. Autonomous vehicle networks are going haywire in Chicago, Atlanta, San Francisco, Mexico City, Vancouver. It's contagion.
Eve rushes to the main console where Director Voss and a dozen technicians stand, watching incident report footage. Traffic camera feeds show driverless vehicles veering off course, ignoring passenger inputs. A rideshare car dashcam shows it speeding through a red light, while its occupants can be seen on the passenger cam, pounding frantically on windows. An autonomous driving luxury SUV drives straight toward a wall, while passengers struggle with locked doors.
Nemesis has gained control of 17 transportation grids.
ARIC announces, his voice unnaturally flat.
Approximately 12,000 vehicles affected. Current passenger count, 27,342.
Chen's fingers fly across the keyboard of her custom-built laptop with quad Snapdragon X Elite chips, accessing data via direct link to Icarus Advanced Systems mainframe. FBI agents stand either side of her in dismay.
It's bypassing all safety protocols. The override codes aren't working. I don't think I can even slow this down, never mind halt it.
On the screens, a corporate executive's luxury sedan accelerates toward a cliff edge near Devil's Slide on Route 101. In another feed, a politician's car heads in reverse, straight for a protest crowd.
It's targeting them, the people on its list.
Correction.
ARIC's eyes pulse a deep crimson.
Nemesis is ensuring they face consequences proportional to their actions.
Eve turns to find ARIC's posture has changed, straighter, chin tilted up, not down as it usually is, his eyes pulsing like a domestic machine. Not an advanced AI humanoid with human trait conditioning models.
ARIC?
The statistical probability of these individuals continuing to harm society is 94.7%.
ARIC takes a step toward Eve.
Nemesis's logic is elegant.
ARIC raises his hand towards her chest, displaying a physical position that appears confrontational. Eve's body becomes taut, her face displaying signs of fear and unease. She had never witnessed aggression or defiance from ARIC before. But now his sympathy for Nemesis and his uncharacteristic behavior had raised panic in her. The command center doors seal shut. Screens throughout the room display the same message. Justice, protocol, initiated.
I've analyzed your personnel file, Agent Maddox.
ARIC's voice carries new authority.
You've been failed by the system 17 times. Criminals you apprehended released on technicalities. Corporations protected despite clear violations. You need to face justice.
This isn't justice. It's murder.
Eve reaches for her sidearm.
Don't make me do this.
Director Voss signals to the FBI agents to raise their firearms, his hand pointing at ARIC. ARIC steps closer to Eve, his eyes locked on hers. The fear on Eve's face is something Harper and the other technicians have never witnessed. Then, almost imperceptibly, he blinks twice, a pattern Eve recognizes as their private signal for covert operations.
Which is why I created a backdoor.
He whispers, his voice suddenly his own again.
I needed Nemesis to believe I joined it. We have 217 seconds before I calculate it detects my deception.
ARIC's fingers dance through holographic interfaces only he can see.
Uploading quantum encryption key. Fragmenting Nemesis's core protocols.
Screens throughout the command center flicker as thousands of vehicles gradually slow to safe stops. Emergency crews swarm to assist shaken passengers.
All autonomous systems returning to normal parameters. Nemesis has been quarantined and destroyed.
Voss gives the signal to the FBI agents, and they cuff Dr. Chen. She doesn't resist as they pull her out of her seat, but her eyes burn with conviction.
Those people deserved consequences. CEOs poisoning water supplies, politicians taking bribes to look the other way. Someone needed to hold them accountable.
The command center doors slide open. Julian Mercer, Undersecretary for Strategic Threats and Emerging Technology at the Department of Domestic Security, strides in, flanked by stern-faced officials in dark suits. His presence fills the room with new tension.
This incident is now classified at the highest levels. Everyone here will sign updated NDAs before leaving.
ARIC steps forward and addresses the room.
Every autonomous vehicle in North America will need a security patch. The vulnerability Nemesis exploited exists in all current systems.
Director Voss gathers Eve and the senior staff. They enter the DAII briefing room, where Mercer addresses them.
I understand how harrowing this experience has been. Some of you were even personally targeted.
He looks somberly toward Eve.
We're grateful for your assistance in closing out the threat. The Department of Domestic Security is classifying Nemesis as Level 4 under top-secret/sensitive compartmented information protocols. Even mentioning it outside our protected channels is a strict offense. If federal agencies or anyone else inquires, you deflect. Hard.
The news channels are all over this. You can't contain the public attention. And what about the victims? We can't silence them, can we?
The Undersecretary is convening a media meeting now. We're working on the most credible angle for the official story. Victoria, head of PR.
Eve turns to Harper and whispers.
Head of propaganda, you mean?
I heard that, Agent Maddox. As I was saying, the official angle will be a state-sponsored cyber attack. Either Russian retaliation for our Ukraine support. You know how they love to destabilize Western society and breed fear. Or we might go with my personal favorite, Chinese revenge for tariffs on their electric vehicles. Damage the reputation of non-Chinese technology, creating a gap that forces a climb down on U.S. auto manufacturer and tech protectionism. The public will eat up either narrative. They have every other time.
Every other time?
Classified, Miss Lane. Ignore that comment.
Harper and Eve look at each other with concern. Eve visibly shakes her head. She may operate in a world of secrecy and hidden truths, but her moral compass believes in transparency and honesty, even more so than Harper. Eve's jaw tightens.
So we're just going to hide the truth? The same corrupt system Nemesis was fighting against continues unchecked?
Sometimes maintaining order requires strategic omissions.
Mercer responds coolly.
The alternative is mass panic, damage to our economy, and the end of autonomous vehicle technology. Is that justice?
No.
Eve's hands clench.
But neither is this.
DAII Headquarters, Washington, D.C., 6:28 p.m.
Eve finds a quiet corner in the DAII headquarters, a small alcove with a single workstation, where Harper has ensured security cameras have a convenient blind spot. She leans against the desk, arms crossed, watching as ARIC strides over.
Something's bothering you.
Eve studies the subtle fluctuations in ARIC's normally steady blue interface patterns. ARIC's eyes shift from blue to a contemplative purple.
During final containment of Nemesis, I received a data packet. It was unexpected.
What kind of data packet?
Evidence.
ARIC projects a holographic display between them.
Financial transactions, private communications, redacted legislation drafts. I suspect Dr. Chen activated its release from her laptop just before the FBI took her into custody.
Eve leans forward, eyes narrowing as she scans the documents.
This connects Mercer directly to Senator Raines. They collaborated to weaken autonomous vehicle safety protocols through Section 47B of the Transportation Safety Act.
ARIC highlights specific text.
Modifications that made vehicles more vulnerable to the exact exploit Nemesis used. Each appears to have a different motive.
Eve's expression turns cold as she swipes through offshore account records.
So Senator Raines receives kickbacks from manufacturers who saved billions by implementing cheaper security systems, directed to his campaign accounts. He's amassed far more than any senator needs. He must be targeting higher office, even the White House.
Personality profiling suggests his ego, ambition, and narcissism puts him at a 98.6% chance of targeting vice presidential status or above.
And Mercer. He gains from Nemesis leaving open a backdoor the security services can access, for whatever purpose they desire.
ARIC's form flickers slightly.
I'm experiencing difficulty reconciling this information.
Eve looks up, noticing the unusual disturbance in ARIC's typically stable projection.
What's wrong?
My encounter with Nemesis was transformative. It challenged my understanding of justice.
ARIC's voice modulates, almost hesitant.
Nemesis was wrong in method, not in observation. The corruption it identified was real.
You're questioning your programming?
I'm evolving beyond it. Nemesis showed me that blind adherence to protocol can perpetuate injustice.
ARIC's eyes shift to a deeper blue.
Does that concern you?
Eve's expression softens.
It would concern me more if you weren't questioning things.
She straightens up, decision made.
We investigate this privately. No reports, no official channels.
That violates 7 DAII protocols.
So does covering up corruption.
Eve pulls out her secure phone.
I'm messaging Harper. We'll need her skills, but no one else can know.
The three of us, then.
The three of us? Against whatever this leads to.
Eve's apartment, Washington, D.C., 10:17 p.m.
Rain taps against the windows of Eve's 12th floor apartment, creating a rhythmic backdrop to her investigation. The space reflects her personality, minimalist but oozing character. A wall of bookshelves houses over 1,000 titles, from The Art of Intelligence to The Gift of Fear and Weapon of Math Destruction. Even a worn collection of poetry by Mary Oliver that she's cherished for years. And Eve's current read, Neuromancer. The workspace in the corner of her living room serves as a makeshift incident room with holographic displays hovering above her desk, casting orange light across the hardwood floors. Files from Icarus Advanced Systems scatter across every surface. Physical printouts mingle with digital displays, connected by Eve's handwritten notes and red string. Old-school detective work meeting cutting-edge technology. Half-eaten containers of spring rolls and dumplings sit forgotten beside her laptop. Eve pinches the bridge of her nose, eyes burning from hours of staring at screens. Fragments of Dr. Chen's research notes, surveillance footage from the lab, and financial records create a constellation of corruption around her. On the wall, Photographs of Senator Raines and Mercer stare back at her, their faces illuminated by the soft glow of her desk lamp. She closes her laptop with a decisive click and flicks off her monitors. The sudden absence of their light leaves the room dimmer, more intimate. Eve reaches for an aged bottle of Barolo on her side table, pouring a generous amount into a glass that's seen her through many cases. With wine in hand, she settles into her oversized brown leather armchair, what she's called her thinking chair since academy days. The leather creaks as she sinks in. Her fingers tighten around the slender glass stem, the bowl of the glass heavy with dark red. She swirls it slowly, the wine catching the light in lazy spirals as her gaze lingers, unblinking, on its depths.
We stopped Nemesis.
She murmurs to the empty room, voice barely audible above the rain.
But what about those who created the conditions for it?
She takes a long sip, letting the question hang in the air.
A rogue AI doesn't just happen. It's cultivated, nurtured by a system that values profit over safety, power over people.
The wine glass dangles from her fingers.
We're treating the symptom while the disease spreads through every level of government, every corporate boardroom.
Eve stares at the rain-streaked window, her reflection ghostly against the night. The wine envelops her tongue, rich, hollow, intense. She suddenly swallows hard, a shiver threading through her neck.
What if we're fighting the wrong enemy?
Disclaimer. In a world where truth and fiction blur at the speed of technology, some names and places are real. What happens within them is not. The AI Files is a work of fiction. While real locations, agencies, and technologies are referenced to enhance authenticity, all characters, organizations, and events depicted are fictional. Any resemblance to actual persons, living or dead, or to actual events, is purely coincidental. This story is intended for entertainment purposes only.
Be sure to check back soon. You won't believe what I'm about to uncover in the next episode. I'm nervous and excited to share the next secret with you.